The ancient origins of a simple food. Our story begins a very long time ago, in a place far from the bustling kitchens we know today. To find the first noodle, we must travel back over 4,000 years to ancient China. Archaeologists made a truly remarkable discovery at a site called Lajia, which is located near the Yellow River. They found a small, overturned earthenware bowl buried deep in the ground. Inside this bowl, perfectly preserved, was a single, long, thin noodle. This incredible find proved that noodles have been a part of human history for much longer than anyone had previously imagined. It was a simple food, made from just a few basic ingredients. The ancient noodles found at Lajia were not made from wheat flour, which is very common today. Instead, they were crafted from two types of millet, a grain that grew well in the dry climate of northern China. The process of making them would have been very simple but required skill. Cooks would have ground the millet into a fine flour, mixed it with water to form a soft dough, and then carefully pulled and stretched that dough into long, delicate strands. It is amazing to think that this basic technique, developed thousands of years ago, is still the foundation of how many noodles are made all around the world in modern times. This discovery was incredibly important. It settled a long-standing debate about where noodles first came from. For many years, people in different countries, including Italy and the Arab world, claimed to have invented this wonderful food. The bowl from Lajia provided clear, physical evidence that China was the true birthplace of the noodle. These early noodles were likely a staple food, providing nourishment and energy for the people who lived along the Yellow River. They were a simple, hearty meal that could be cooked quickly in boiling water or a savory broth, a comforting dish for families to share. From these humble beginnings, the noodle began its long and fascinating journey. It was a food born out of necessity and simplicity, using the grains that were available locally. The people of ancient China created something truly special, a versatile food that could be adapted and changed in countless ways. This adaptability is the secret to the noodle's success. The simple strand of millet dough found in that small bowl was the ancestor of every bowl of ramen, every plate of spaghetti, and every serving of chow mein that we enjoy today. It was the first step in a delicious history. A culinary journey across continents. The noodle did not stay in China forever. As people traveled, so did their food. The famous Silk Road was a network of trade routes connecting the East and the West. Merchants, traders, soldiers, and explorers traveled along these paths for centuries. They carried silk, spices, and other valuable goods with them. But they also carried their customs, their ideas, and, most importantly, their recipes. It is widely believed that noodles were introduced to the West along these very routes. Arab traders traveling through Asia likely encountered noodles and brought the concept back with them to the Middle East and the Mediterranean. From the Arab world, the idea of making and eating pasta, a type of noodle made from durum wheat, is thought to have traveled to Italy. While some stories famously credit Marco Polo with bringing noodles from China to Italy in the 13th century, this is likely a myth. Historical records show that Italians were already eating pasta-like dishes before Marco Polo's return. The introduction was probably a much slower and more gradual process, happening over many years through trade and cultural exchange. The warm, dry climate of southern Italy was perfect for growing durum wheat, the ideal grain for making firm pasta that could be dried and stored for long periods. Meanwhile, noodles also traveled east from China. They made their way to nearby countries like Korea and, very importantly, Japan. This transfer of culinary knowledge happened through monks, scholars, and envoys who traveled between the nations. The Japanese embraced noodles with great enthusiasm, but they did not simply copy the Chinese recipes. Instead, they adapted them to suit their own tastes and available ingredients. This led to the creation of uniquely Japanese noodle dishes, such as ramen, udon, and soba. Each of these has its own distinct character, texture, and tradition, showing how a simple idea can blossom in a new culture. The journey of the noodle shows us how food connects people across vast distances. A simple dish created in one part of the world can travel thousands of miles and become a beloved part of another culture's cuisine. It changes along the way, taking on new shapes, new flavors, and new names. The noodles spread across continents is a perfect example of globalization happening long before we had a word for it. It is a story of trade, travel, and the wonderful human habit of sharing good food with one another, enriching everyone's diet in the process. China, Italy, and Japan. In China, the birthplace of noodles, they are much more than just food. Noodles are a powerful symbol of longevity and good fortune. Long noodles represent a long life, which is why they are traditionally eaten on birthdays and during celebrations like the Chinese New Year. It is considered very good luck to eat the long strands without breaking them. Chinese noodle cookery is incredibly diverse. In the north, you will find wider, chewier noodles made from wheat, often served with hearty sauces. In the south, delicate rice noodles are more common, frequently served in light, flavorful soups or stir-fried with fresh ingredients. When we think of noodles in Italy, we think of pasta. The Italians have turned noodle making into a true art form. Using durum wheat, semolina, and sometimes eggs, they have created hundreds of different shapes, each designed to hold a specific type of sauce. From long, thin spaghetti, perfect for clinging to tomato sauce, to shell-shaped conchiglie that cup hearty meat sauces, the shape is never random. In Italy, the pasta itself is the star of the dish. It must be cooked al dente, which means to the tooth, so it is firm and has a slight bite. The sauce is there to complement the pasta, not to overwhelm it. In Japan, noodle culture is a serious and respected culinary tradition. There are three main types of noodles that are central to their cuisine. Ramen, originally a Chinese import, has become a national obsession, with each region boasting its own style of rich, complex broth. Udon noodles are thick, soft, and chewy wheat noodles, often served in a simple, delicate broth. Soba noodles are made from buckwheat flour, giving them a distinct nutty flavor and a darker color. They can be served either hot in a soup or cold with a dipping sauce, which is especially refreshing in the summer. The way noodles are eaten in Japan is also an art, with slurping encouraged, as it cools the noodles and enhances the flavor. These three countries show how one basic food can evolve into vastly different, yet equally delicious culinary traditions. In China, noodles are symbolic and varied. In Italy, they are an art form, defined by shape and texture. In Japan, they are a subject of regional pride and refined simplicity. Each culture has taken the simple concept of a noodle and woven it into the fabric of its own society, creating dishes that are deeply loved and celebrated. It demonstrates the amazing creativity of cooks all over the world and their ability to transform humble ingredients into something truly special, a global favorite. As noodles continued their journey, they changed even more. When they arrived in new countries, local cooks started using the ingredients they had on hand. In Thailand, rice noodles became the base for the famous pad thai, mixed with tamarind, peanuts, and shrimp. In Vietnam, the French colonial influence led to the creation of pho, a fragrant beef and noodle soup that combines rice noodles with French cooking techniques. In Germany, a type of egg noodle called Spätzle became a popular side dish for hearty meat stews. The noodle proved it could fit in anywhere, adapting to local flavors and becoming part of new traditions. The 20th century brought one of the biggest changes in noodle history: the invention of instant noodles. In 1958, a man in Japan named Momofuku Ando wanted to create a food that was tasty, cheap, and easy to prepare to help feed people after World War II. He developed a method of flash frying pre-cooked noodles so they could be dried, packaged, and later rehydrated with just hot water. This invention completely revolutionized how people ate. Suddenly, a hot, satisfying meal was available to anyone in just a few minutes. Instant noodles spread rapidly across the globe, becoming a staple food for students, busy workers, and families everywhere. Today, noodles are more popular than ever before, for several key reasons. First, they are incredibly versatile. You can serve them hot or cold, in a soup, with a sauce, or in a salad. They can be the main course or a simple side dish. This flexibility means they can be part of almost any meal. Second, they are generally inexpensive. Basic ingredients like flour, water, and rice are affordable, making noodles an accessible food for people of all income levels around the world. In a world with rising food costs, noodles provide a filling and satisfying meal without breaking the budget. Finally, noodles are a universal comfort food. There is something deeply satisfying about a warm bowl of noodle soup on a cold day, or a heaping plate of pasta shared with family and friends. They connect us to different cultures and to our own memories. From their ancient origins in a simple clay bowl in China to the billions of packages of instant noodles sold each year, this humble food has had an incredible journey. The simple noodle has managed to travel through time and across borders, proving that a great idea, especially a delicious one, truly knows no boundaries.